go to the questions. All right, I have 10 questions. All right, these are all anonymous. I hope no one wrote their name in these. No one wrote their name yet. They're all anonymous. Let's start, and we'll do it by what came in earliest, just so we're going in order. This is so cool. This is a nice interface. All right. How can I deal as a wife with a husband that has anger issues with no control sometimes? Any conversation, he acts like a battle, also blaming on anything. I mean, of course, just so I don't, repeat myself too much, let me just say one thing. Always and everything in life, check if there's an opportunity for you to grow. In life, everything. You get any criticism, anything. With your kids, with your spouse, at work, with your family, whatever, your prayer life, whatever it is there an opportunity for me to grow? So, if your husband has anger issues, first of all, try to have a conversation outside of a difficult time. Like while your husband is angry, don't in that time say, oh, and you have anger issues, look at what you're doing right now. You have to know that in intense times, people's defense mechanisms activate, fight, flight, or freeze, right? So no one is open to influence when they're on the defense. Influence is very important, okay? In life, in relationships, you're always trying to influence each other. I'm trying to influence you, by the way, right? I'm trying to have an influence. And there's ways that I could do a good job or a bad job, right? Maybe I could be a lot less engaging, right? Maybe I could put everything on one slide at a very small font. There's ways to do better at influencing and ways to not do worse. So people are not open to influence in a heated moment. They cannot be influenced, okay? So try to find a time to talk about it another time. Ask your spouse, is there anything that I can do to make it easier for you to not lose your cool or to not become as angry? Is there anything I can do? But let me tell you, at the end of the day, you can't change anyone. And if your spouse is not going to work on themselves, number one, find a way to protect yourself, have boundaries, and there's also this topic of grieving, which is another thing we don't talk about that much, but there's a loss. There's a loss, right? Because the reality is, and I'm saying this, I'm not happy to say this, okay? I'm not happy to say this, but it's real. Some people, in some things, they don't change. I'm not saying they can't change. I'm just saying they don't change. And what are you going to do? Are you going to be bitter for the rest of your life? Don't let that hold and enslave you. Okay? You have to take care of yourself. And you're not a victim. Maybe you're a victim in a certain situation, something happened. But your life, your identity is not a victim. So if your spouse is not changing, and you really believe, you really did your best, like you worked on yourself, you worked on how you bring things up, you worked on positively charge everything, you worked on getting resources, you did everything, you had the right conversations, and they're not changing, then take care of yourself, set boundaries, and grieve. Grieving means it's a loss, it's not happening, right? If someone wants to ask, by the way, I know everyone is waiting for the key or the magic thing that will help you change your spouse. You cannot change another person. That's it. You can minister to them, support them, and that's what I mean by checking yourself. Is there, let's say for example, you're yelling first. Well, watch yourself first, but you can't change another person, and that's very hard. How can we stop the cycle of the husband making the same mistakes, the wife getting upset, yelling, and the husband yelling, and the husband avoiding engaging to avoid further conflict? Well, focus on your role. Focus on your role. Focus on your role. And also, I want to say, this, by the way, it's not only women, but usually it's more women who are more anxious and perfectionistic. I'm not saying it's only women, and I'm not saying it's always women. Like, men have it too. But on average, women are more perfectionistic than men are. Okay? This is one of the few personality traits where there's an actual difference, like between men and women, right? And by the way, on average in society, it's not a personality thing, but it's more of a social thing. On average in society, men are not taught to emotionally engage. They're more emotionally disconnected, which is bad. That's a bad thing, right? Anxiety is not good, and emotional disengagement is not good, right? So I'm not saying one is wrong and the other is right. I'm saying both are wrong in their ways. So if you think your husband is making the same mistakes, check if you're being perfectionistic. Because sometimes our expectations are too much. They're unrealistic. We want everything to be perfect. It's not going to happen, right? And sometimes we get into these big fights about how we're each treating the kids differently, and we're not doing the perfect thing for our kids. Meanwhile, the fight itself is harming the kids. Like, these poor kids, they see the leaders of their home always in disharmony. And really what they're fighting about is about the kids, to help them be better. But don't do that. Just give up. Don't fight about it, right? So the husband making the same mistakes, and of course husband, in this specific question, is there something you could do better? Like don't make, maybe it's an ego thing and you're not trying to make any changes. If you feel very stressed and you feel like you don't have you're so overwhelmed, say to your wife, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just really burnt out. I'm working so much. I don't know what to do. It's not that I don't love you or I don't care. I'm just really struggling, right? But that's a good thing to say. It's a very good thing to say, because at least now you're understanding each other. Men a lot of times suffer alone because they don't talk to each other emotionally. And sometimes their wives are overly emotionally engaged. They do too much emotional work. And so sometimes they just suffer alone. All right. By the way, if I'm not answering something, you could write over again, or you could even, by the way, anyone can just call out a question. Advice regarding the example before. Spouse working a lot, overtime, coming late, don't spend enough time with the kids, and other partner feel unhappy. I mean, look, very simply, only two things are going to change. There's only two options, okay? Maybe I'll give a third one, but it's really two options. Either you're going to change what's going on with work, or if not, say you have to think, we both agree to this. Don't say, my spouse is working too much. Either you're actually going to change it, or you say to yourselves, we both agree that this is what's happening. It's both of your decision. And then you have to be very diligent about spending time together. Very diligent about spending. I was just at a marital thing, and I was very blessed to listen to an amazing priest, one of our amazing priests, speaking about when he first got ordained. And he said, once he got ordained, him and his wife started having issues because he's working his work on hours when she's off hours now. Like weekends, that's his most active time. Evenings, that's his most active time. Weekends, she's off from work, and evenings, she's off from work. So they were just passing by each other. Their whole life is passing by each other, right? And he said, we were never connecting, and we started having all these small fights, right? And so the solution is very simple. By the way, I'll just be very open with you. I'm almost frustrated how rarely, how infrequent it is that couples do this. Go out together, one-on-one. Go out together. 3 times. Because if you haven't done it in a while, it's hard to, you don't have like a rhythm together. You don't have like a flow. You look at each other, you don't know what to talk. Like I remember some couples, the first time they go out together, after years of not going out, they don't know what to talk about. They don't know what to say. Like, what do we do? And I say, yeah, but do it 3 times. You're gonna get a flow. And sometimes there's an app called Card Decks. You can download. It has a lot of great questions. You can talk about with each other. One of the assignments I give to a lot of couples when we're doing this is get the app. Each of you choose 3 questions. Ask the other person the question, and then you answer the question. And you each come up with 3 questions, right? So, but go out together. Spend time. And by the way, if you're not, I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't know how else things are going to get better. How do things get better if you're not talking? How exactly is it going to get better? So don't complain. And by the way, what does it take to go out together? It takes one person to say, let's go out together. Let's schedule it. And then you decide how you want to, where you're going to go, what you're going to do, whatever. Do like 90 minutes. Plan for an hour and a half.
How often should you do
Okay, I'll tell you the ideal.
With 3 kids.
No, sure. But remember the best gift, and a busy work schedule, yes. Yeah, any more? Anyone want to add anything else? And no car, and whatever. I'm running out of money, trying to buy a house. Remember the best gift you can give your kids is a healthy marriage. So it's okay. Listen, I love you all, okay? It's okay to take time away from your kids to spend it with your spouse. Okay? It's okay, it's good, it's healthy. If you only have 2 hours or 3 hours, give some time to your spouse. Give some time to your spouse. Because what's the alternative? You're the team that's raising these kids. You're the people raising them. So you have to be on the same page. You have to be in sync. Your kids have to come home and feel like there's harmony, there's unity. Even if they only see one of you, they know that when there's one, the one represents 2. Always. They know. When I see any one of my parents, that one always represents both parents. But if they're seeing you disconnected, they're going to get in between. They're going to play both sides. They're not going to have security, emotional security in the home, because the leadership in the home is broken. There's gaps and cracks in the leadership. You know when you feel like, you ever feel like, any of you had this at work where you feel like there's leadership changes? Leadership changes, you know that? You ever hear about that? And once you feel like there's leadership changes, you start to feel insecure at work. You're like, what's going on? Like, is my job okay? Are there gonna be more changes? What are the new people gonna do? That's how your kids feel at home when the leadership is not solid. They feel like there's leadership changes all the time. You get what I'm saying? They don't feel emotionally safe. So, how often? Once a week. Once a week. It doesn't have to be something extravagant and big. Maybe you just say, you know what? At 9 p.m., from 9 to 10:30 p.m., maybe that's the only time you have. From 9 to 10:30 p.m., we're gonna sit together and we're gonna just chat and eat our favorite snack or something. Whatever it is, right? We're gonna take a walk. But the point is, do it regularly. Like don't judge it based on the first time, because if you're not used to doing it as a couple, the first time is going to be a little awkward, right? If you're not used to doing it, do it 3 times and then work on it. Okay, but once a week, that's the ideal. That's the ideal. And by the way, some of you might be saying, "Wow, once a week is a lot." That's exactly the problem. That's the problem, that we're not connecting enough. It's the most important relationship you have on earth after God and yourself. And you're not doing it, right? By the way, just to comfort you a little bit, I work like 2.5 jobs, basically. And I wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. every day. I go to sleep at least 11 o'clock, maybe later every day. I'm tired often, but every Saturday, and it took a while to do this. I'm just trying to show you that you have to work on it to figure it out for you. We created 2 years ago, created a shared calendar, and I have on the calendar every Saturday I look at the calendar for the next week and I block quality time every day for an hour and I put a date night on the calendar every week, right? Sometimes we skip a week. Something happens. We get invited to something, we both want to go to it. So we skip a week. We don't do a date night. It's fine. It's okay. But I literally just scheduled, we have a date night on Tuesday. We're going to go out Tuesday. And the restaurant is booked, okay? Because we have to do it. And we didn't do one this week. We didn't do one. And this past weekend we were traveling. And we were all over the place with the kids. It was chaos. Chaos with the kids, right? Traveling air flights and it's a mess. But you have to work at it. Figure it out. Because if you don't connect, then remember we were saying the positive and the negative. We were showing that scale. This one, the negative you can't control. It's coming. It's coming. And things came this week. Negative things came. Stresses came. Big ones. And if we weren't on the same page, it would have been very hard to connect. Right? Okay. Does that answer your question? Yes. Okay. Yes.
I do have a question, like two things you said.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you see the kids 1 hour, and it seems like you're super busy. But again, you said that like the couples, if one exists, kind of ambassador for both of them, or like representing both parents. So if I don't spend much time with the kids because of my work, do I feel guilty about it, or
Yeah.
it's kind of very challenging for me not
Yes.
to feel guilty or leave work, but if I leave work, who's going to feed the family and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So is this 1 hour enough, and can I believe in the idea of, okay, my wife is there, then my kids is seeing me through her?
No, yeah, what I meant by one represents two is in the leadership, not in the relationship. The leadership, what are the values of the home? You both are united. You lead and you determine the values of the home together, and the vision of the home, what the culture of the home. But that's not the same as your kid has a relationship with you. Your kid has a relationship with you. Your kid has one relationship with you, has one relationship with your wife, and you have to work on your relationship with your kid. Now the question is quality versus quantity, because there's a whole issue that. By the way, sometimes it's 1 hour. Sometimes for me it's like an hour and a half in the evening, half an hour in the morning, so I get 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I have to I plan ahead for the weekends. Like I didn't come to liturgy today because I knew I was going to be here the second half of the day. So I took one of my kids to Costco. We spent like a few hours there, played at home, and just because I knew I was going to see him for the second half of the day. And tonight I'm planning to spend time with him. So, but this is intentional. Sometimes we think that we need lots and lots of quantity and we don't care about the quality. But actually, there's a lot of opinions about this, but one of the experts talks about a certain type of quality time that takes just 20 minutes, right? 20 minutes a day, where you're spending 20 minutes, but you're doing what the kid wants without any criticism or guidance or anything. You're just kind of following their lead. They want to play with something, they want to talk about something. You ask open questions, you're not trying to teach anything. You're just kind of like being present with them, right? Or, for me, like what I do with my kids, their age, it would be different for older kids. But, I play with them, lots of physical touch. I ask them how they're doing. We do bath time, read a book, whatever. We do meal time in that time. But it's okay. I mean,
like 1-2 hours a day is not bad.
No.
As long as you're using them.
As long as the quality is good, keep your phone away.
Okay.
Put your phone away. That time, the quality is gone if the phone is. But keep the quality really high. And ask yourself, do I feel like I connected with the child? Did he connect with, or she connect with me? I don't think there's a lot of guilt around the quantity, and there's not enough focus on the quality. But if you can spend more, it's fine. By the way, there are some parents who spend so much time with their kids. I wish they spent less time and went to read a book about parenting. Like some parents, I wish I took them away from their kids and told them to read for 1 hour. A book about parenting. Because when they're with their kids, they're driving their kids crazy. So it's not about the quantity. Like, yeah. Sometimes, by the way, I'm amazed. Like, I thank God that, like, my kids love me. And remember, your kids love you. But they want to love you. They need to love you. Like, in their own heart, they want to connect with you. So all you have to do is just be very present in the time you're with them. And by the way, remember, God doesn't ask for 2 hours from you every day. Anyway, like God, He just wants to be like, just be connect generally, Okay. Any questions ever? Like, okay. All right. I feel like I'm getting a little warm, but maybe it's just me. All right. So my wife feels unloved because I don't care for her as before. She always bosses me around like a child. Do this. How can I improve this unhealthy dynamic? Address both of these things without assuming that your wife has bad intentions. For I don't care for her as before. Remember, I said at one point, communicate love to your spouse using their love language. I put that on the slide. So what does she mean? And I want to encourage anyone, if your spouse is asking you for guidance, respond in a very clear, very specific, very non-judgmental way. Like if your spouse says, how would you like me to show you love? Don't say, we've been married for 15 years and you still don't know how to show me love? Like don't say that, okay? Just say thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. Let me tell you one thing that would make a really big difference for me. And say something specific. Say, I would love it if we spend 15 minutes together every night. I would love it if you gave yes, what? Yes, okay, yes.
What if after you do this specific thing that you ask for, they feel you're doing it because they asked, not because...
Yeah. I want everyone to... Yeah.
It's fake.
Yeah. No, look. I want everyone, forget this idea. It's a myth. It's not real. It's like a fantasy. It's not real. That your spouse is going to read your mind. You need to coach your spouse on what works for your heart. Teach them. Teach your spouse. Maybe you think it's so obvious. It's obvious to you because it's your own heart. Tell your, a common difference between spouses. There's so many common differences, by the way. One of the common differences is one grew up in a family where there was a lot of physical touch and the other didn't. That's a common difference, okay? So one, they're used to being hugged a lot and kissed a lot and all that stuff, just a lot. There's a lot of touch in the family. Like if you were looking at the family, you showed up, you would see everyone is just hugging, touching, passing by, whatever. You just see it a lot. And the other one, they don't touch at all. It's as if everyone's like a statue, like no one's touching. And so you bring these two people together, and one feels very deprived and neglected because they're used to being touched a lot, and the other one feels very uncomfortable and doesn't understand what the problem is. Like what's going on? What's the issue? Everything's fine. There's no problem. So you have to explain to your spouse. Now, in that example, the spouse who's used to being touched, getting hugged when they were growing up, all the feelings they had, they shouldn't expect that their spouse is going to have the same feelings if they do the touching, right? So if you tell, hey, if you're the wife and you say, hey, I really love when you give me a hug, right? And you grew up in a family you were getting hugs all the time. Before you leave home, before you come back from home, your parents, before you go to sleep, whatever it is, right? And you used to have, when you would get these hugs, you have all these feelings because it's connected in your brain and these chemicals and all this stuff. But don't expect that what you feel when you get a hug or give a hug, that your spouse is going to feel the same thing when they give a hug. Don't expect that. It's okay though. You said, I want to get a hug. And your spouse said, that doesn't mean anything to me, but I'm gonna do it because you like it. It's kind of like when you say, it's exactly the same thing as if you like, I don't know what you like to eat. If you like to eat sushi, and you love sushi, and you say, can we go eat sushi? Your spouse might say, it doesn't, whatever, like sure, let's go. They don't care, but you love it. But doesn't it mean something that they went to sushi with you? Doesn't it mean something that they went to do something that doesn't mean anything for them? It means something, right? So ask your spouse, what would make a difference for you? And do it. Just do it. Just do it. Remember, time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out. Just do it. She always bosses me around like a child, do this. So now, in this specific thing, the first step is just at a time when you're not fighting, say, hey, can we talk about something? Assess if your relationship can handle a negatively charged interaction, by the way. Okay, maybe it can't. Okay? And say, hey, can I make a request that when you want me to do something, can you say it this way? Say it, okay? And you could even say, if it's the case for you, say, when you say it this other way, I feel very disrespected. Don't say it, you're disrespecting me when you say it that way. Say, when you say it this way, I feel disrespected, okay? If your spouse says, what do you mean? It's just so simple, blah, blah, blah. Be prepared for that if that's going to happen. Say, okay, I'm just making a request. If it happens again, now you start to set boundaries. What's a boundary? A boundary, for example, a simple one, is if you made the request, next time say, hey, I know we talked about this, it's still making me not feel good. If you ask me for this again this way, I'm not going to do it. That's it. That's it. I'm not going to do it. I'm willing to do it if you ask me in a way that doesn't make me feel hurt. That's it. And maybe you think what I'm saying is crazy. Maybe you think what I'm saying is crazy. But you know what's crazy? Living like this for the rest of your life. What are you going to do? Because your heart is always going to be poked every time you get the request the way you don't like it. Another option, by the way, is to decide if you can just accept it. Can you just accept it? Maybe you can, by the way. Like maybe you can. Maybe you can just accept it. But if you can't, if it's harmful, then decide what you're going to do. By the way, if anyone here has another option, please say it. Yes?
I thought all of us are being bossed around, so he should.
No. It's
the marriage.
no. Remember, don't. You see, sometimes we get too comfortable in our marriages, and we just say whatever we want, however we want. But you have to remember, this is the most important relationship in your life. Like, you have to honor it, like elevate it. It's the most important relationship. If anyone has, by the way, another option, I want you to tell me. Because I don't know of another one, okay? Either you learn how to live with it and be happy, or you say something and do something, okay? But what are you going to do? Yes?
I have another perspective, not another option.
Sure.
Sometimes I would tell Paul, hey, can you do this, and that with the kids? I don't need to be bossing him around. I know he wouldn't do anything if I don't ask him to do something. Or he wouldn't know what to do if I don't ask him to do it. So I think it's a different way to see how, like, I don't need to boss him around. But
Does he feel like you're bossing him around?
He just said, that's
No, I didn't put that.
No, sure.
I didn't write any question.
Yes.
Zero question.
We can talk in the church after if you want.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I do know that
Yeah.
sometimes I act bossy.
No, I gotta leave after this.
It's true. I do know that sometimes I might sound bossy when I ask
No,
him
sure,
to do
that's
something.
okay.
But I think
No.
it's part of the process. He might not know what's needed at this time.
No,
So it's okay.
but what I'm trying to say, there's actually two things. There's two things. One is the actual logistics of life. Like there's you have something you want to do. You need Paul's help. Paul, you need Paul's help, and so you need to talk about it. Like so, something needs to happen, right? But now, so it's okay, like to request and kind of like if you're in a good place as a couple, you can direct each other. Like, just tell each other what to do. It's okay. You're in a good place. You feel safe. You feel respected. You feel loved. You're a team. It's not like, you ever see like a basketball team playing? They don't say, hey, excuse me, can you catch the ball when I pass it to you? They don't say, oh, hey, I'm sure you mean it. But they don't do that. They understand each other, and they direct each other very fast because they're on the same page and they trust each other, right? It's not all this. But now the question is, could you say it better? Does Paul want it to be better? Maybe Paul's fine. He's okay. Sure. Thanks for telling me what to do. I appreciate it, right?
I just mean,
It's
not
okay, you're
specifically in our
embarrassing me.
relationship, but in general, sometimes the wife who asks for something, it's not for bossing around, it's just because
Yeah, sure. But
it's their way of asking for help.
well, I want to say asking for help is fine. The way of asking for help is your responsibility. So, and remember I said there's 1,000 ways. So, ask well. Ask well. Ask well. Okay, so yeah. What's the difference between criticism and correction? It's a correction is a type of criticism. It's okay, but what's difficult? Like, there's always a criticism implied in a correction, but the question is, should you be correcting in the first place? And also, is it really criticism? Are you criticizing a behavior or a certain outcome, or are you criticizing their character? Right? Be careful, be very, very careful, extremely careful about criticizing someone's character. Who they are, how they are, their flaws as a person. Basically, that is very rare, extremely rare for that to work. Basically, you will have fights if you criticize someone's character. But if sometimes you know things better than the other person, right? So it's okay to correct and to give criticisms about specific things, but also just make sure that this isn't like your relationship can handle it. A lot of things we criticize each other for don't matter. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because, as we all know, we're all very busy. If you criticize your spouse for how he or she loads the dishwasher, that's gonna use up 5-10 minutes of negative feelings, emotions. It's not gonna be simple most of the time. Your spouse is probably gonna be thinking, well, I'm already tired, I'm trying to help out, and you're criticizing how I loaded the dishwasher. And it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna stay there for at least 5 to 10 minutes, maybe an hour. And now you only have 2 hours tonight with each other, and you lost an hour. Don't say it. It's not worth it most of the time. Remember, your spouse was doing okay before you joined their life. They managed. They were okay. Like, they got through life, right? Like, it's not like your spouse is a mess that needs to be fixed. Maybe you feel like they are, but it's not the case.
But is it possible that somebody might have more strength in certain things
Yes.
than the other person?
Yes.
I feel like you're good at this, and I'm probably better in doing this.
Yes. So that's always very often the case, by the way, that one of the benefits of marriage is that you inherit you join with a lot of new strengths that you don't have. So like there's a lot of synergy and like diversification benefits, a lot of great benefits. You also take in a lot of additional flaws that you didn't have to deal with too in marriage. But the question now, the next thing is, if you are actually stronger in something, and you are actually stronger and you're very sure that your spouse is doing something in a bad way, you're sure they're doing it in a bad way, the next thing to ask yourself is there capacity and leverage in the relationship where I can make this correction? If you're stressed out and you're not in a good place, you're probably not going to have any influence. It's going to turn into a fight. So if you're willing to spend time to do that correction, add up all those times and spend the time on working on the relationship. Right? So and because you're not going to get anywhere anyway. Like, it's not about being right. There's a famous therapist, she has a lecture called, "You could be right or you could be married." And so you have to decide. It's not enough to be right. It's not enough to be right. It's not like I'm sure I could see my wife doing things in ways that I don't think should be done, but time is limited. What am I going to do? I want us to be happy. Like, we're just going to keep going, whatever. Like, just keep going. We're going to keep going. I know what's hard about all this is that none of my answers are telling you how to change your spouse. And people want that. But you have to accept that you cannot change them. You cannot like go in their heart and change something, right? You have to learn to be wiser and learn how to dance and manage in this. You ever see, I don't know, there's no way I'm gonna know this in Arabic, but you know, in some cultures, like the Spanish culture, they do the dance with the bull, with the red sheet, and they put it in front of the bull. It's called a matador. It's called a matador. And they put it in front of the bull, and the bull comes, and as soon as the bull comes to get the sheet, they move the sheet and they dance, and they're dancing with the bull. You know what I'm talking about? Okay? That's how it is in married life. Okay? The goal is just not to get stuck. Like, don't get beat up. Don't let yourself get beat up and you don't beat up. Right? The stresses are coming. Your spouse is this. And you're just trying to keep things going and try slowly to make things more positive as much as you can, right? At some point, you're both gonna be safe and comfortable and relaxed and rested, like the bull gets tired, right? The bull is not your spouse, the bull is the marriage, okay? And things kind of rest and become comfortable and safe. And then you could do some work, right? You could do some work. Okay. How to express my anger or disagreement without making my spouse feel attacked or disrespected. John and Julie Gottman, they talk about soft startups, kind of like how I said, I'm sure you didn't mean this, right? So start with something positive, start with a very humble way to begin the concept, the sentence, the conversation. Invite the conversation, say like, hey, I want to talk about something, do you have some time now? Right? Make sure it's a good time. Make sure you are clear, like you're not worked up, okay? Make sure your points are clear. Make sure what you want is clear to yourself first. Sometimes we just want to yell and scream, but that's not enough. Your spouse is not your therapist, okay? Your spouse is not your therapist. Sometimes you think you're getting married, so now this is your closest person to you. You could just say whatever you want. You could vent all the time. They're not God. They're a human being. They can't handle all of this. They can't handle everything you have to say, right? So that's why we need resources. We need a spiritual support system. And try to break up your point in pieces. Like, for example, like, hey, there's something that's been really bothering me that I wanted to talk about. Pause. See, probably your spouse is going to say, okay, like, what's going on? If your spouse says, oh, not again, like, da da da. Okay, now you know. Like, you're not really, you shouldn't go deeper. We have a different issue, right? You want to talk about some issue, but now you're finding you can't even get into the conversation. We have to work on that issue. Like, oh, do you feel like I'm bringing up the same issue again and again? Or is there something else? Do you have something you want to bring up? Right? Like basically, you need to be slow in how you bring up these discussions. At some point, by the way, I just want to say, because I haven't said it enough, is at some point, a lot of issues and bad fights have piled up on top of each other, and there's a lot of resentment and bitterness. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's good to get help. It's good to get help. Like, it's really good, okay? Again, ask yourself, if I've tried this before, and it hasn't gotten better. Like, I had a wife tell me, you know, for years, she's been having issues with the sexual intimacy in their marriage. She tried again and again and again, right? And to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. And her husband doesn't want to get it. Doesn't, like, agree. So she needs to get help. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to try again and keep talking about it? Why keep what difference is going to make the 80th time? It's not going to make any difference, right? So sometimes you need to get help. And you could even say, if you feel like your spouse feels attacked or disrespected, you could say, this conversation might make you feel attacked or disrespected. Is there anything I can do to help you not feel that way while we talk about this? Isn't this so good, guys? Like, if you do this, like this could unlock a lot of difficult topics, right? But don't have the conversation unless you can see like a path to it going well, okay? What are you gonna do differently? I feel disconnect, not interested anymore for communication. This is not depression, but it's a sense of like hopelessness in the relationship. It's actually, honestly, it's a very simple statement, but it's very serious. It's a very serious issue. I want to encourage you, like, I'm not saying you're wrong for feeling that way, but definitely, like, a lot of times there are things you haven't tried that can help. I'm not saying to who's asking this question that you haven't tried everything. Maybe you have tried everything, and maybe we have to discuss what you do next. But a lot of times there are more things that you haven't tried and you could still try, but they're just new things and you don't know about them, right? So what I would say is get help. I know it's easy for me to say don't lose hope, but I don't know the person's specific situation, and I don't want to just say like a simple statement like that, and I don't know their situation. So maybe let me say something. I know this is, probably no one will tell you this. Sometimes, rarely, there probably nothing's going to happen. It's not going to get better. But most of the time, it will get better if you just try different things. And sometimes why you might, maybe your hatred or bitterness or the amount of pain you've experienced is making you blind to other options that you haven't thought about. Like maybe you're so angry, you can't imagine having a soft conversation with this person anymore because you're so angry. But maybe that's what you need to do, and you need someone to help you have that conversation. And maybe to prepare the other person, your partner, for that conversation too. How can I discourage my spouse's unhealthy habit without nagging? If this is how you're asking the question, you were probably done. Remember, you can't change another person. Like, if you've given the message multiple times, just stop. If it's affecting you negatively, we should be talking about boundaries if you can't cope with it. But don't nag. I mean, nagging nagging just harms. It doesn't do anything. It never helps. No one says, thank God you said it 734 times. That's how many times it took. Now I'm going to change my behavior. No one says that. How to manage communication issues when during the misunderstanding, the person who is upset does not want to answer any questions. Maybe you're not asking questions well. Maybe the timing of that conversation is not good. Maybe you're not understanding them. Maybe you're not understanding them well enough. And you could say, hey, I know you don't want to answer any questions. Is there something I can do to make you want to have this conversation better, more? And one of the things you can ask is, do you feel like we don't need to have, there's no problem? Genuinely. Because sometimes we're harping on an issue, keep talking about an issue, and the other person doesn't even agree that there's an issue. Or they think the issue is something else. You're talking about one thing and they're talking about something else. So, if for yourself, ask, is there something else you think we should talk about first? Maybe that will help them. Maybe they want to talk about something else. Also, remember, your spouse doesn't want to talk most of the time, usually why your spouse doesn't want to talk, is because they think the conversation is not going to go anywhere. That's why they don't want to talk, most of the time. They think, if I have the conversation, there's a high risk that there's going to turn into a fight, it's going to cause more problems, than make things better. If your spouse was confident that having the conversation was going to make things better, if they were confident, they would have the conversation. But the reason why they don't want to have it most of the time is because they don't think it's going to help. They think it's going to cause trouble. So now you have to see, why do they think it's going to cause trouble? Maybe because in the past when you tried to have it, it caused trouble. Maybe because you're starting it in a way where they think it's already trouble. It's already trouble, right? And I'm willing to talk through some more examples. The last question here, is there a practical way to address the different styles of communication, the person who needs time versus the person who needs closure right away in an argument? Look, like, I know, I'm just being real. I'm being realistic, okay? I'm being very realistic. You have to wait till both are ready. You have to wait. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work if one of you is ready and the other one's not ready. You have to wait. There's just nothing you can do. For the person who needs more time, number one, affirm your partner. Tell your partner, I love you, I want to have this conversation. I care about you, I want to have this conversation. I care about you, affirm them. I'm not ready right now, and then give a specific time for when you can have it. And for the spouse who's receiving that, you have to accept that message, because otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. Now, for the spouse who needs more time, don't just take more time and waste it. Do something with that time. Sit, prepare yourself. Do whatever thinking you need to do. What do you need to be ready? Do you want to think? Do you need to pray? Do you need to write some things down? Do you need your certain points? Do you want to prepare some requests for when you have the conversation? Like say, hey, okay, I'm ready to have the conversation now, but I have some requests. Can we please make sure, can we give each other 2 minutes to speak without interruption? Or whatever it is. Yes?
I think that's my wife's question.
Okay, okay.
But like the other person, which is me, sometimes just the time with not even talking about the problem is going to be solved. Just
Sure.
because we are super tired.
Sure.
So there is a problem. But if I'm not tired, that's it. I'm going to forget about it.
Sure.
That's it. So I need the time just to, I mean, we can talk about it later again if she wants to, but after this 5 hours or sleeping and waking up, the problem will not be existing anymore. It's
Sure.
just the time needed. That's it.
Sure. Yeah. But part of the reason why you might not be ready to talk now is because you have work at 5 in the morning. You gotta wake up at 5. Sometimes you're just not ready. You gotta sleep.
Yeah.
So
or a 9-hour shift.
Yeah.
I'm super exhausted.
Yeah. It's fine. And it's not fair to force a conversation. It's not right. I mean, unless there's an emergency, but I mean, it's not fair. Like we're trying to have a good conversation. But and again, you see, if you're a couple that doesn't go on dates, you don't spend quality time together, maybe you're finding your lives are so busy, you're never having any conversation ever. So that's why I'm saying you have to spend quality time together, right? So but respect each other's styles. Respect each other's styles. Okay, that's the last question. Is there any other question? Yes.
Is it right, like one time I read a quote that in an issue with husband and wife, that husband does forgive his wife but doesn't forget, versus wife doesn't forgive but forget.
Yeah, that's not, no one ever forgets. The forgive and forget is not a real thing. God never said that. It's not real. That's not a real point. Like imagine God who's omniscient, who knows everything. He never forgets anything. But he treats you as if he forgot. As if you didn't do it. That's his forgiveness. Even though he knows what you did. But he treats you as if you didn't do it. That's the beauty of forgiveness. That's what it is. But you never. But it's not possible. It's not possible as a human being to forget. You can't forget on purpose. But you can treat your spouse as if the offense never happened. But there's two issues here. There's two issues. By the way, one of the topics we don't talk about enough is forgiveness. Like we say you should forgive, we say that. But we don't talk about how to forgive. Like how to actually forgive and what does it mean to forgive? Like what does forgiveness mean, right? So,
what I meant is because sometimes forgiveness could affect, like I'm not gonna build up, like if I forget, I'm not building up.
yeah, sure.
First, I didn't forget it and I keep like, what issue can
Yes.
bring a pyramid of
Yes, yeah, if you're, by forgetting here, usually the things that are easy to forget are the things that are probably smaller offenses. So yeah, you'll forget it like, because it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't very memorable. Like it wasn't something to remember that much. Like I'm sure, like we forgot a lot of things, like whatever, but you can't, but the big ones, the ones that are hard to forgive are very hard to forget. Like, so you'll probably never forget those. But forgetting is not the goal. The goal is not to forget. It's not a goal. It's not even a goal. The goal is to be humble. So don't, like, as much as you can, try not to be offended easily. As much as you can. Like, for example, if you could give the benefit of the doubt, like you say, oh, like they didn't mean it. Or it was a bad time. That might make it easy to not even be offended in the first place. Like, for example, if my son, like he's learning something and he just hits me, I'm not going to be like, oh, my ego and my pride and I'm your father and, just whatever he's learning, I'll teach him. It was wrong, whatever. But I'm not going to let myself become so offended. Because a lot of times, sometimes our offense is connected to our pride, sometimes. Like the amount of offense is proportionate to the amount of our pride. But anyway, the goal is forgiveness. The goal, we should forgive always. Like that's a command, that's something from God. Always forgive. Forgiveness means that you don't hold it against them anymore. Meaning you're not expecting anything back because of what they did. They did something bad to you, they hurt you, but you forgave, meaning it's done. You're not expecting anything back. Anything else. It's over, like it's closed. You're not expecting anything else. You're not gonna bring it up again because you want them to repay something or to make up for it. And the usual example is forgiving a debt. Like if someone owes you $100, you forgive it, they don't owe you anymore. It's over. You don't even bring it up again. It's over. You forgave the debt. Now, a separate issue is reconciliation. So sometimes, just because you forgive someone doesn't mean all of a sudden they're now safe. It doesn't mean they're not going to do it, they can't do it again. And that's a big issue. Like let's say your spouse yelled at you and cursed at you and told you all this stuff, or they lied to you. Fine, you forgive. Yeah, you should forgive. It might be hard to forgive and you should forgive. But it doesn't mean all of a sudden they're trustworthy again. The trust doesn't come back right away. You forgave, but they might still be untrustworthy. So you have to be careful about trusting them again and all of that. So this is a big topic. Am I answering your question, or are you sure? Yeah? Okay. Okay, it's a wonderful question. It's a big topic. Forgiveness and reconciliation, it's a big topic, yeah. Any other questions?
I felt like the quote is about the personality of the husband, the difference between the husband and wife.
It's not. Usually what it is, what probably it's referring to, is that sometimes, let me tell you what's going on a lot of times. What usually happens is men on average, not all men, on average, men can be so emotionally disengaged that they don't allow themselves to feel so offended. Sometimes. They think like meshi, like just keep going. Even if they're hurt, they think, just meshi, like keep going. But they're hurt, and they carry it with them in their heart, but they don't know that they're carrying it. But then they start to become quiet, and they withdraw, and the closeness goes away, and all this time pass, years pass, but really it's because their heart is hurting, but they don't even know that their heart is hurting. So it looks like they forgive easily, or they forget, but really it's because they're not emotionally very engaged. And part of the reason why they're not emotionally engaged, besides they're not taught how to be emotionally engaged, is they don't know what to do if they feel offended. All they know is to yell. Either they yell or they withdraw completely. They don't know how to handle being offended. So if you don't know how to handle being offended, you try to not be offended. But the way you try not to be offended is you suppress your emotions. And so you're just like, no, keep going to whatever. And or you say, a lot of men say to each other, she's crazy. Women are crazy. They say that, which is not right. They're crazy, and they just keep going, but they're hurt, and the distance just grows. So, but none of that is healthy. Like it's not like a difference between men and women, right? And sometimes women are too No, it's not too complicated. It's yes. No. Sometimes it's a tough situation because sometimes women they do too much emotional work for the relationship. They're doing the work for 1.5 people, and so they feel things very strongly, and if the husband is not able to respond to that, it just becomes difficult. Like it's like the back and forth just gets worse and worse and worse. So that's why it's good to spend good time together so you can do maintenance on the relationship more often before it piles up, right? At least you can confirm your love for each other, you're spending time together. If you do that regularly, it makes a big difference. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Sometimes after the same disagreement, the same conversation comes up for a month, where you're gonna have another conversation about the conversation, another conversation about the same conversation, and it's just like, that's enough. I don't want to have that conversation anymore. Where it's like simple as, the way you treat this kid is not important. For example, you have the fight, you talk, you reconcile, everybody's good, and the next morning it comes up.
Yeah.
And then you talk about it, and then it's 2-3 hours, and then the next morning it comes up,
No.
and then the next week it comes up, and it's like at some point, when do you? It's not forgiveness. It's more of when you just.
Sure. If you're on the receiving end, you feel like you're on the receiving end of this. The reason why it keeps coming up is because your spouse doesn't feel like it's resolved. Your spouse doesn't feel like the conversations you've had led to a resolution. Even it feels annoying. It feels like a nuisance. Like, why do you keep bringing it up? But they just keep bringing it up because it's not resolved. Like I could close the conversation, but it's not closed. I just closed it. I just said it's closed. It doesn't mean it's closed. And we have to think past our frustration. It's frustrating. I validate that emotion. It is frustrating. But you have to think past the frustration. Like, even though you're frustrated, tell yourself, you know what? It's probably frustrating for her too. And we're both frustrated. Like, it's okay. You're both frustrated. Yeah. Yeah, it stopped working. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, well, that means we're out of time. So, all right. Yes. Oh. Nah.
Sorry, you mentioned earlier you kind of ranked towards the relationships, God first, yourself, and then your relationship with your spouse. I'm curious about the self ones. I haven't heard that in the same way.
Yeah.
And then it is kind of interesting because like one of the challenges I think in relationships sometimes is somebody's being selfish in a certain way. So I'd love to just hear about how you think about that and maybe thoughts on that.
Yeah. What I mean by the self, I'm not saying to prioritize your needs above your spouse's. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you have to have a relationship with yourself. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying more than that. Because actually the Bible says to, as much as you can, put the other's needs above yours. But you still need to know your needs. Because if you don't know your needs, you might have some big ones that you don't even know about that are being neglected and are causing a lot of damage in the whole family because you're neglecting, you don't even know your needs. St. Anthony said, the person who knows himself knows God. That's what he said, St. Anthony said. So you need to know yourself. You need to, and you need to know your flaws. You need to know your strengths. Another thing you need to know is, what is your mood in the moment? How are you doing? Are you happy? Like, are you stressed? Are you feeling ashamed? Are you feeling insecure? Are there goals that you have that no one is working towards? Are there requests you want to make of your spouse? Like, you need to know yourself. Have a relationship with yourself. Because no one is going to know except you and God. So that's why you have to be talking with yourself, like regularly, reflecting, maybe writing a journal or just spending some time alone. One of the problems nowadays is any free moments get taken up by our phones. So you don't have boredom anymore. You don't have that space to be bored, to just stare at the wall and think. Many of us, we fall asleep with our phones. Like, you're on your phone, you fall asleep. So it used to be that you would sit in bed and in the minutes before you sleep, you're staring at the ceiling and you're thinking about your day. Now you don't think anymore. You don't think. And even now you listen to podcasts, which is good, but you're not doing it intentionally. You need to have time to reflect. How are you doing? I remember one time, after years of working, I walked into my sister's room before I got married. We were still living as a family. And I looked at the mirror in her room and I looked at myself. For some reason, I just made eye contact with myself in the mirror. I don't know, it was very weird. It just felt so weird. I said, wow, I feel like I haven't connected with myself in so long. I'm just running around everywhere, running, doing everything for everyone else and for all these goals. And I don't even know if I'm okay. I don't know. So I encourage you, look in the mirror for 30 seconds. And make eye contact with yourself for 30 seconds. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. Because we're not at peace with ourselves. We're not. And that's what we're scared of. The reason why we don't spend time with ourselves is because we're afraid of what we're going to find. You might realize that actually you've been spending years working towards a life that it's not even something you're proud of. Like, fine, it's keeping you busy, your time is passing, but you're not even proud of this. It's like, another way to reflect is think about your death. I know this sounds crazy, but actually the fathers talk about this a lot. Think about your death. It's actually, by the way, I know this sounds so weird, and maybe I'm a weird person, I am, but I really, there's something very beautiful about going to funerals. Like, you see the end of someone's life, and you see, like, wow, this was their journey. This was the whole trip. This was it. And you see what people say, and you see how people are responding, and you think about even interactions you had with this person. And ask yourself, what do I want when I'm dead? What do I want the story to be about my life? What do I want to leave behind? What do I want not just the financial legacy, but the emotional legacy, the spiritual legacy? Some people, they leave 5 generations after them are doing amazing because of what they did with their life. And some people, 5 generations after them, are suffering. We studied this in school a lot, to trace trauma that happened in 5 generations. You could trace it. Lying, addiction, abuse. You find it in all the generations. So that's another way to reflect. Think about your death. And it's actually, by the way, honestly, one of the best ways to center yourself. To ask yourself, what you could even write your own eulogy. Like I remember one time, one of my assignments in school was to write your own eulogy. Like, the eulogy is the speech that someone gives at your funeral. You could write it. One time I went to a funeral, and sorry, I know we're way off topic, and this is the last thing I'll say. But death is another thing we don't talk about much, and grieving. We don't talk about it much because everyone just says every time you hear about death, you say Bismillah Salib, and you want to change topics. But actually, it's very important. You know, death is, we in the liturgy, we talk about death all the time in liturgy. Liturgy, we talk about death all the time. Your death, O Lord, we proclaim, right? We say it all the time. One time, I was at a funeral, and at the end of the funeral, there were two, a father died, and his two sons, he had two sons, and they're carrying the casket, and they're walking out, and the other people are helping behind the sons. And I remember looking at that image. You know, I was one of the deacons, I was just on the side as they were carrying, and I'm looking, I said, you know, one day my sons are going to be carrying me like this. And I was so proud of this image that I saw. You know, this man, he died, and he happened to have his two sons there. They were happy to carry their father. They were very happy. They felt like it was their responsibility and their honor to carry their father. So I thought to myself, man, I got to do the same thing, because one day my sons are going to be carrying me, right? So what do I have to do to have sons who are proud to carry me when I die, right? So think about these things. They're not like, and if you're scared to think about it, it's because actually there's something very valuable you're going to discover. Your mind is afraid to think about it because there's something valuable there, something uncomfortable. Maybe you're going to realize, actually, my kids, if I continue like this, maybe I'm not going to have my kids carrying me or want to be there or whatever. Because sometimes you hear about funerals and some people don't go to their parents or whatever. You know, it happens. So that's how you have a relationship with yourself. It's very, very important. Yeah. I'm so happy I talked about that. Yeah, it's very important. We don't talk about it enough. It's a very important topic. Okay, I love you all. Thank you so much. Glory be to God forever. Amen. Thank you.
I'm going to have to step away to go meet with someone, but we really want to thank Magar from the bottom of our hearts for coming and spending his whole Saturday with us away from his family. And thank all of you for being engaged and being here and taking the time to invest in your relationships. I think it means a lot, and hopefully this is the first of more than one session, many sessions.
With your prayers.
You want to bring him back again.
Yeah, thank you.
From the first 5 minutes you were here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you all. Thank you.